Chapter 5, Mitch. The only thing I felt when I put the phone down after reading Marin's blog over and over again was rage. Unequivocal blanket rage. I saw red. How could they do that to her? How could they use her like that? How could they use me like that? I had to do something. I had to get evidence. I knew that Marin wasn't lying. I knew from the marrow of my bones that every word that Marin said in that blog post was truth. Everything started to make sense now. The secrecy, my dad's secrecy, Marin's dad's secrecy, the meetings, and the deal with Mara and myself, everything made sense now. Why they keep her hidden. Why they don't let her socialize with anyone. Why they keep her as their secret weapon. Questions started to be answered that I didn't know needed answering. Like, why a person as dim-witted as Mara got such good grades? I could never understand it. We've been dating for almost 4 years and known each other even longer. I'd seen her homework, and I'd heard the way she talks, and I know she doesn't study, and I always wondered why she got such good grades. Now I know. It wasn't her work at all. It was Marin's. All that time, all the accolades, all the awards, everything that Mara got, it was because of Marin. It was because of her diligence. It was because of her study. It was because of her brain. I wouldn't be surprised if she was near genius level. The level and caliber of work that she puts out is absolutely phenomenal. If you look at Mara's assignments, and you look at how Mara speaks, there's a huge discrepancy there. I wondered how the discrepancy could be. Now I know. I had to go for a long drive to think of what to do. I got in my car, and I went to an empty parking lot that we used to hang out in as kids when our parents weren't looking. When I got to the empty parking lot, I put the gas to full throttle and drove. Drove off all the anger, all the frustration for years. I've been doing what my dad said, and thinking that I was doing it for me. Now I know all that time I was doing it to fund his drug dealer and his sex trafficker. To know he's a politician, and he's supposed to be fighting to get crime off the streets. But he's gonna use that to put money in his pocket, and to get crime on the streets. I was beyond livid, beyond anything. At the bottom of my anger, at the bottom of my frustration, I had tremendous hurt for Marin. I couldn't imagine the years of Mara, getting awards knowing that it's her work. It's her why Mara got the awards. It's her that got Mara into cheerleading. And her parents not only allowed it, but they sanctioned it. I could feel the steam rising up inside me. I was like a volcano, getting ready to erupt at any time. As I walked off my anger, I knew that I had to collect evidence before I talked to Marin. For the next week, my eyes were open. When my dad wasn't in his office one day, I went to his office and looked for the illegitimate books that Marin was talking about in her blog. I almost missed them. They were behind a wall in a hidden compartment. I was searching on the desk anywhere I could think of that was hidden. I just happened to feel on the wall where there was a little part of it that wasn't exactly flush with the rest of the wall. That little part of it opened to reveal a big safe. Inside the safe were the books. Inside the books were all the illegitimate dealings that Marin was talking about. Everything from before I was born. Everything with the drug dealer. The sex trafficking ring that Marin was talking about. All the evidence was right there. I was jubilant because now I had the proof that what she was saying was the truth. At least where it came to my dad. But now I just had to get the proof when it came to Mara, that she wasn't doing her own work. Over the next few days, I saw her and acted like nothing was wrong. Like the dutiful boyfriend. One day, we had a science test. Out of curiosity, I asked her some questions from the test that the teacher had given us that day in class. If she was paying attention and actually did the work, she would know those answers. Do you really want us to talk about science right now? Don't you have other things to do? I just want to know. Humor me. I want to see those brains at work. Oh, come on. We don't need to talk about science right now. She laughed. That fake laugh that grated on my nerves. I have other things that we could do. She trailed her fingers slowly down my arm. Her touch made me sick. I thought I couldn't stand it before, but now knowing what I knew, I wanted to strangle her little neck.
But I kept my cool. I didn't only ask her about science. I asked her about all her classes. The ones I wasn't in, I managed to charm the teachers into giving me the books and the lessons that they had taught, saying that I wanted to study with Mara for all her classes. Each day I asked her the questions from her classes. She would find a way to ignore me, distract me with sex, anything she could to not answer those questions. I had my answer. Mara was a fraud. And Marin was right about everything. About her parents, about our dads, about what was going on in this town. Now it was time to talk to Marin, but the only problem was I didn't know where she was. She didn't have a room in the house that I knew of, and I didn't know where else she could sleep. So casually one day I asked when we were walking home, "Mara, where does Marin live? I know she lives in the house with us. I see her come down, but I've never seen her room or where she lives." Mara's face went sour, like she smelled something nasty. "Why do you want to know where that retarded cow lives?" "Because she's your sister, and I want to get to know her. If we're going to get married, I'm going to have to get to know her." I said on the outside inwardly. I grit my teeth wanting to strangle her, although it wasn't very gentlemanly. Knowing what I knew, I didn't care. For too long, Marin had been ignored, put aside for her more accomplished sister. But what Marin didn't know, she had one person in this world who would stick up for her, and that was me. Oh, she lives in a little part at the side of the house. You can hardly see it, but it's there. It's at the back of the property, but I don't even go in there. Who would want to? "You mean she lives by herself?" "No, she lives with those bitches who help her. Seriously, I don't know why Mom and Dad don't ship her off." "We don't need someone like that in the family," she said with a dismissive wave. "Forget about strangling her. I wanted to kill her. I wanted to kill her so bad, but I kept my boyfriend's smile on my face as we kept walking." The next day, when Marin was at school, I looked at her, really looked at her. Where there had been a soft smile, I looked at the eyes, which were sad and lonely. I thought to myself, "You're not going to be lonely for long, baby." After school, I made some excuse to Mara that I had to do some homework. When she was gone, I looked at the back of the house. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the little add-on that I'd seen so many times before and wondered who lived there. Looking at it filled me with rage again. The fact that they didn't even let their own daughter live in the house. The fact that they gave her own space, not for her independence, but because they didn't want her presence to taint their little circle. She's a better person than the three of them will ever be. I've learned that from reading her blog to Fantasia. I stood outside the door and knocked. Then I wondered how she would let me in, or maybe one of her helpers would let me in. I heard Marin's voice say, "Coming." She came to the door, and then I heard a click, and then the door opened by itself. I knocked again. "Can I come in?" She looked up, probably expecting her parents or Mara to give her something else to do. She was shocked when she saw me, and she gave the biggest smile. "Sure, Mitch. Take a seat." Her space was beautiful. It was a little apartment, but the apartment was totally wheelchair accessible. When you walked in, first you saw a beautiful living room with a huge big screen TV, but instead of couches, there were 2 love seats and a long space for her wheelchair. What I would assume were her helpers' rooms. The doors were closed so I couldn't see inside, and then there was a massive room straight ahead, which was her room. The door was slightly ajar, but I didn't go in because it would be rude. We didn't know each other well, although I'd been dating her sister for 4 years and known the family for as long as that. I didn't want to be invasive, and although I'd known her over the past few days more through her letters, we never had a conversation. I was a little nervous. What if she was mad knowing that I had read her blog and kicked me out? I had to tell her that I believed her and that I was on her side and be as vulnerable with her as I can. I sat down on one of the comfy chairs facing her. I didn't know where to begin. Then I thought of the perfect icebreaker. "And how did you open the door?" I used my door opener. She pointed to the table where her computer sat on. It was a little thing with a button. She grabbed it from off the table. She pressed the button. The door swung wide open. It stayed open for about a minute, and then it closed. When I go out or anywhere else, there's a little clip that I can clip it to my seatbelt. "Wow, that's so cool." I said, "Yeah, it is." She agreed. There was an awkward pause before I just spit it out. "Remember when I picked up your books the other day?" I said, "Yeah, I do. Thanks for that, by the way." "Oh, you're welcome. Anytime." "Well, what you didn't see is When you drove away, a paper was still on the floor. I was going to give it to you, but I didn't see you the next day. On that paper was a website, sweetfantasies.com. When I said the website, Marin's face went white and she looked terrified. Ignoring her look, I went on. Now, I'm not a nosy person, Marin, but I was curious. So that night after the game, I saw the paper in my bag where I had put it. I was curious, so I typed it into my phone and I found your website, your Sweet Fantasies website that you used from coding class. She looked horrified and resigned at the same time. She sighed. I knew someone would probably read it one day, and I shouldn't have been so honest on it. But to tell you the truth, Mitch, I've been holding so much in for so long, I needed a place to put it. I'm not mad at you for looking at it, and I guess now you're going to tell my parents and my sister and the police what you've read. Maybe show them. I knew writing on a blog, although private, was a risk, but I needed somewhere to put everything. You don't know what it's been like. Holding everything in for years. Holding what my sister's been doing to me for years. Holding what my father's been doing to me for years. Holding what I've wanted to do to you for years. She smiled and winked at me. I won't ask you to keep it, just do what you must with it. They can't do anything worse than they've been doing to me for years since I was in kindergarten. So, whatever they do to me, I'll deal with it. Thank you for telling me before you went to my parents and sister. Whoa, Marin. I'm not going to tell them anything. I'm telling you to say that I believe you. I'm not going to tell them a word. They're not going to know anything about sweetfantasies.com. Those people deserve nothing from me or from you. I also want to tell you, I got proof of what you were saying about my dad and your dad. I know everything about the drugs, about the prostitution ring and the drug trafficking ring, what they're doing with the money for the so-called children's hospital, funneling it back into their dirty dealings and money laundering. I know about every dirty thing they're having you do. I'm not going to say a word. You've got me in your corner. Reading your words has shown me how lost I've been for years. Just going along with what my dad has set up and reading your words, I don't know what to do now. I don't know whether to continue with this sham of a deal or whether to go to the police and show them what I have. Because who's going to believe me too? Like the biggest coach and the biggest politician are involved in dirty dealings. I have pull, but not that kind of pull. But mostly, along with me being on your side and me believing you and having proof that everything you've said was true, I wanted to tell you that through your words, I've been falling in love with you, Marin. You're the only real thing in this town. Everybody's so pretentious and fake, but you're real. Those first 2 fantasies were hot as hell and kept me hard for days. I want to make those fantasies into a reality. Marin had a stunned look on her face like she couldn't believe what was happening. But the deal, fuck the deal. I want you, Marin. Your words have meant so much to me. I know you've been lonely for years because your family has been using you, but you don't have to be lonely anymore. That husband you want, I'm him. Those kids you want, we can have them. I love you so much. She started to cry, big, heavy, heaving sobs. I got up from the chair and took her into my arms and let her cry. I wondered, while she was crying in my arms, when was the last time she got the opportunity to cry like this? When the last time was, someone didn't compare her to Mara. That someone saw her for her. I vowed from this day forward that I would be on her side. Everything she needed, I would give her. After about 15 minutes, her tears subsided. Mitch, you don't know how long I've wanted somebody to say that. Someone to see me, someone to love me, someone to know the truth about what's been going on. But you can't give up on the deal. You love football. I love you too much to let you give up on your deal. Do I wish things were different? Yes. Do I want you like hell? Yes. But we can't. There's too much riding on this for your future. You know, if you get out of the deal, your dad will blackball you anywhere you go. And my dad will take care of it on the sports side and blackball you there too. I can't let you be blackballed because of me. So what do you expect me to do? Date her and pretend that things aren't going on, which are? Marry her? Pop out 3 kids? Like nothing's wrong? Mitch, I don't see another way. I stood up. No, I won't do it. I won't be in love with you and date her. Mitch, what other choice do you have? Okay, I can date her and marry her and cheat on her. Mitch, Marin said, outraged. What other people do it? I will not be somebody's side piece. You're not a cheater and you know it. So what else do you expect me to do, Marin? Just hide these feelings that I've just discovered over the past few days. Mitch, it's only been a few days. You'll forget about me. You'll have the big football career, get married and have your 3 kids and have your perfect life. No, I won't forget about you. Marin, reading your words was like reading what I've been feeling. You know, soulmates. I felt reading your words. I was reading the words of my soulmate, the words of my wife. I knelt down beside her and took her hand. Marin, you know how rare of a person you are. You know what a genius-level IQ you have, what a heart you have, what a spirit you have, what a soul you have. I want that in my life. I need you in my life. I'm sorry, Mitch. I love you and want you and need you too, but we can't do it. I will not let you sacrifice something that you wanted. I love you so much, Mitch. I wish it could be different, but I don't see a way. So I guess that's it, huh? Yeah, I guess that's it. Mitch got up and walked towards the door. I'll keep dating her for you, but know that my heart will always be yours. Every time I'm having bad sex with her, I will think of your fantasies and I will dream of you. She replied back, every night I'll dream of you. When my ladies are putting me to bed, I'll imagine that it's you and know that you will always have my heart and know that you could come talk to me anytime, Mitch, about anything. Same thing goes for me, Marin. Damn, I hate this. I do too, but I love you too much. And look at it this way, at least now you'll be here to keep me company. And because you know the truth, we can talk when she's not around. Yes, but is that enough? No, she said, but it will have to be. She wheeled over to the door and lifted up her arms. I came down and gave her the tightest hug I could, and then I left, hating the world and everyone in it, except my soulmate, Marin.